All right, fans, welcome to another edition of the Bulls Corner and the Ranger Roundup right here on YouTube.com. I am Michael Fletcher alongside my partner in crime, Anthony Florio. And ladies and gentlemen, it was a 50-50 weekend for our teams, our respective teams. Unfortunately, things did not go our way with the NBA tonight. The Boston Celtics did beat the Chicago Bulls 104-93. The series is tied at 2. And we'll get to the Bulls in just a little bit, but in the room, a pretty sizable elephant that's been here for about, I want to say, about 24 hours now that we need to get into. New York Ranger fans, I know you've been waiting for this. We apologize for the long wait, but let me tell you, your New York Rangers have advanced to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. We have jinxed out. There was a couple of jinxes we had to get out of our system. Number one, we've been losing a lot of games lately in Madison Square Garden. We've won 2 of them now. On top of that, the last year we had that bitter taste after getting wiped out in round 1 by the Pittsburgh Penguins in 5 games. That's out of the way. The Rangers have now advanced to the Stanley Cup playoffs second round, now 5 out of 6 times. And more importantly, another jinx got broken. And we'll get into that in a matter of minutes. The final score was 3-1. New York, they win the series 4-2, pulling off an upset because I think a lot of people, even the pundits, had the Montreal Canadiens eliminating the New York Rangers in this series. Well, sorry pundits, but you got this one wrong. So with that said, let's get right into it. Um well, what is there to say? It actually it actually starts off basically traditional 6 minutes 19. Well, actually what happened first, well, you wanted it a feud, you got a feud. Max Pacioretty and Jimmy VC basically go at it. They drop gloves. Not even 5 minutes into the game, a brawl breaks out. All heck breaks loose. A playoff fight. We don't get that many opportunities to see a fight during the postseason. We got one. The referees let them go. Max Pacioretty cross-checked Jimmy VC, basically stick to the face. That prompted the fight. Pacioretty got 2 minutes for cross-checking, a 5-minute major for fighting, but then they hit Jimmy VC with a 2-minute roughing and a 5-minute major. Now I understood about the 5 minutes for fighting, but 2 minutes for roughing? Really, refs? Come on. I mean, all right, I get it. Matching penalties, that cancels each other out, whatever. But during that time, the Canadians scored first again. Alexei Edom, Emelin gets the goal at 6 minutes and 19. Artie Lekkonen and Alexander Rosov gets the assist. 1-0 Montreal after 1. Okay. Period. Jordy Ben gets thrown into the box at a minute 30. Power play New York. Okay. Now we all know the Ranger power play has been bad. Abysmal doesn't even cut it. 0 for 16 has been the Rangers on power plays. Until now. What's this? The Rangers were moving the puck around. They actually were looking like the San Antonio Spurs of the NBA. And not only that, Ryan McDonough, Tomika Zibanejad, to Matt Zuccarello. He scores. Matt Zuccarello, it's a power play goal. Yes, it ties the game at 1, 2 minutes, 26 seconds into the second period, and we tied. Then, later on in the period, it was Kevin Hayes to JT Miller right at the doorstep, Zuccarello again. He scores his second goal of the game at 13:31. Rangers lead 2-1 after two. The third period, basically Montreal trying to get the goal back. New York trying to add to the lead. It got down to 1 minute left, and then of course Montreal's got to pull the goalie, so Carey Price is out of there. On a face-off, Pacioretty shoots the puck, goes off Lundqvist. Dan Girardi kind of flicks it on. Derek Stepan flicks it out of trouble. Not only out of trouble, into an empty net. Derek Stepan scores with 17.8 seconds remaining in the game. That's the third goal. That's the clincher. Good night. Game over. Drive home safely. And like John Sterling would say in postseason baseball for the New York Yankees, ball game over. Stanley Cup round one is over. Rangers win 3-1. That's your final score. And before Anthony jumps in on all the stats, the 3 stars of the game was a win for Montreal. No goals, 1 assist. I don't know why he got it. I thought Edmelin was going to get the third star. The second star of the game went to Henrik Lundqvist with 27 saves, stopped 27 of 28 shots, and a .964 goal against average. And now he's 8-2 in elimination games in Madison Square Garden. And the number 1 star and the number 1 star goes to Matt Zuccarello. 2 goals, the game-tying goal, the game-leading goal. Of course, Derek Stepan got the added assist that pretty much put the nail in the coffin for Montreal. And more importantly, Matt Zuccarello got the Broadway hat. All right. So, Anthony, before we gotta go, well, first, I gotta say that the Montreal Canadiens has now become obsolete, and they fade away and classify themselves as obsolete.
Obsolete, yes, obsolete mule.
And because they were obsolete mules, the New York Rangers took it and decided to delete them from the Stanley Cup playoffs. They've been deleted. Delete. And because of that, I think we should give Montreal a little parting gift. Don't you say, Brother Florio?
Well, Brother Angelo, I think there is a parting gift that we need to give those obsolete mules from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I think if they had eaten more of these, perhaps the outcome would have been totally different. But we got the delightful outcome, the wonderful outcome. And with that, Montreal Canadiens of Montreal, on behalf of Brother Angelo and myself, please enjoy the most delectable treat out there, and that is green beans for everyone. Yes. Green beans for those Canadiens of Montreal. Claude Julien, if only you and your players had taken part in a more delectable helping of green beans, this wonderful delicacy, perhaps the outcome would have been in your favor. But unfortunately, you did not. And therefore, when you don't eat your green beans, you know what happens. You get deleted. Yes. Oh, what a wonderful night indeed. But nonetheless, now back to the serious business at hand. I mean, we could talk about green beans all night long, and of course, Michael Bullock and I, our other colleague, Michael Bullock, we do that. We break that out on the Wrestling Forum on Ridiculously Raw whenever the Hardys are in action and they win a match. So hopefully we'll get to do that again tomorrow night. But nonetheless, all right. Let's see. First of all, Henrik Lundqvist in this series, 4-2, 170 goals against average, save percentage of 947, and a shutout in the first round against the Montreal Canadiens. Now, going into that game, he was 7-2 in closeout games in the Garden since 2007, with a very good save percentage and 2 shutouts, including one against Montreal in that clincher in 2014, that magical night that brother MF and I had. But I got to correct you, MF. Zuccarello did not get the Broadway hat. Henrik Lundqvist did. But they had a tough decision on their hand. You easily could have given it to Zooks. I mean, 2 goals, including the series winning goal in the second period. And then Stepan with that beauty, that empty net beauty to seal it. Unbelievable. And then from there, with the Ranger win, there it is. 4 pieces to the puzzle. We got the upper portion of the goal. Now we got to work on the middle. The middle is next. We'll get into that in just a minute. Unfortunately, I can't get the thing with the pucks, because that's a video, and I don't want to risk getting MF in trouble. I don't want to have him get slapped with a copyright tag. So out of respect for MF, I'm gonna leave that for maybe like a behind the scenes thing, because they did a video this time around. They usually post a photo of the pucks in that little cup thing they have, but don't worry, it's there. And Henrik Lundqvist, of course, getting the Broadway hat. And okay, so now breaking news: we have the series schedule for the next round, and we're gonna get into that in just a moment. So, but let's get into the numbers here. You know me and my numbers. I got to do the numbers here. MF gave you the 3 stars of the game, so now let me give you the. Let's crunch some numbers here, folks. Shots on goal, 28-23 in favor of the Montreal Canadiens. Face-off percentage, 51-49 in favor of Montreal. The power play, Rangers 1 out of 1. The Canadiens 0 for 3. We're not going to get into penalty minutes. The hits were even, 33 hits apiece for both sides. The block advantage, that was all New York, 27-14. Unfortunately, the giveaways continued to be the Achilles heel. Rangers had 20 giveaways. Montreal only had 11. So, stars of the game, of course, the top 2, hands down, for the New York Rangers. No doubt about it. Henrik Lundqvist, 27 saves on 28 shots. And, had that rough start, but then they settled down and then they just went at it, man. It was a classic, another great performance by the Rangers. And what a difference a week makes. A week ago at this time, I was going off on the New York Rangers. And, I said they had no, I said they had no bark, no bite, no sense of urgency, and no woohoo, if you know what I mean. But, boy, howdy. They must, I guess that they must have heard me. They must have gotten my message. And like, you say we have no bark and no bite, huh? No sense of urgency? We'll show you. Bada boom. Look what happened. They win 3 in a row to put away the Habs. So, of course, Henrik Lundqvist first and foremost. Yes, of course, it's Matt Zuccarello as well. 2 goals. But in addition to that, 2 hits, 2 block shots. Good game for him. Chris Kreider, 6 hits and a block shot. I'll give you JT Miller, had an assist, 4 hits and a block. Who else did well? Mark Stahl. What a game from Mark Stahl. 4 hits and 3 blocks. Danny Girardi, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention him. He's always in my list. 4 blocks, 2 hits, had an assist. Nicky Holden, man, what a game for this young man. 5 block shots, 3 hits. Great game for Holden. The captain, Ryan McDonough, an assist, 2 hits and 2 blocks. Brendan Smith, 3 blocks. Let me see. Lindbergh had 3 hits. VC had 3 hits. And I think I covered everybody. Hayes with the assist. 63% of faceoffs. Miller, 50% of faceoffs. Zibanejad, the hero of Game 5, had an assist and also had a 1 hit and had a 44 faceoff percentage. Stepan with the empty net goal. 3 block shots. 30% of faceoffs. I mean, that empty netter, I mean, praise God for that. I mean, that's what I call a praise God moment. I mean, because, I mean, I initially thought he cleared it, but then when I saw the way it was moving, I'm like, oh my God, this thing's going to go in. And if we had done the commentary, live action, I would not have MF, scream out his usual score like he always does, a la Gary Thorne and Doc Emmerich. I would have had you, MF, do what you did in 2013 when the Chicago Blackhawks completed that miraculous comeback. When they scored that winning goal, you said, "It's in, it's in, it's in." That's what I would have had you do right then and there, and then I would have had you say, and then I would have chimed in with my traditional JBL ball game, and that was it. So, but nonetheless, those are my standouts from the New York Rangers. I'll be a good sport, and I'll show some love for the Montreal Canadiens as well, because they played very well as well. Carey Price, 20 saves on 22 shots. I thought he played very well in this series. Petrie, what a game he had. 4 hits, 2 block shots. Let me see. Dano had 7 hits. Led all players with 7 hits. Gallagher, 5 hits. Dwight King had 3 hits. Galchenyuk played very well. 3 takeaways, had a block and a hit to go on top of that. Byron, 3 hits, a block, and a takeaway. Radulov with the assist. Lakonen had an assist. And Pacioretty definitely had the most aggression of anybody. I mean, he had so many chances in that game. He had like 4 chances in that game. I think he had more chances than anybody. Here's a guy who led the team with 35 goals and got held to a single assist in the series. I mean, that's a testament to the Ranger defense. I mean, they absolutely shut down Max Pacioretty. I mean, if they don't do that, this series would have gone completely different. And a lot of people thought that, the Montreal Canadiens were the better team, especially with Carey Price, considering Carey Price, for the most part, was not in that series in 2014. He was in game 1, but then Kreider took him out. And then, of course, they had to go to Tokarski, as everybody remembers, Dustin Tokarski. And I'll tell you what, I mean, the Rangers won that series, went to the finals. And, I mean, a lot of people had doubt that the Rangers could do it again. But it just goes to show you the New York Rangers can beat Carey Price, and they can beat the Montreal Canadiens. And go figure, 16 times now they've met in the playoffs. The Rangers have won 9 of them, including the last 3. You want to know the last time? When was the last time the Montreal Canadiens beat the New York Rangers in a playoff series? You got to go all the way back to 1979, the Stanley Cup Finals of all series. It was in the 1979 Stanley Cup Finals. The Montreal Canadiens defeated the New York Rangers in 5 games to win one of their many, many, many Stanley Cups. And but the last 3 times. Well, actually, no, I stand corrected. It was 1986. I beg your pardon. 1986 Eastern Conference Finals. Montreal beat the Rangers. That was in 1986. But since then, 96 first round, Rangers won. 2014 Eastern Conference Finals, Rangers won. 2017 first round, Rangers won. You sense a pattern here. So now the New York Rangers on to the second round for the 5th time in the last 6 years. And, Alain Vigneault definitely deserves a lot of credit. And, early in the series, I thought Julien was the better coach, but for the last 3 games, Alain Vigneault definitely outcoached Claude Julien. And Vigneault gets his revenge on Julien. You remember 2011 in the Stanley Cup Finals. It was Claude Julien and the Boston Bruins defeating Alain Vigneault's Vancouver Canucks in 7 games. And 6 years later, Vigneault gets his revenge on Julien. So, which prompted Derek Ferreira to do a video last night. And oh boy, was he animated! I'll tell you that right now. And that's all I can say on that. So, but a great series. It was an exciting series for the most part. I had my doubts after Game 3 a week ago. I had serious doubts that the Rangers were even going to do anything else. I thought, especially after how Montreal dominated in Game 3, I thought there was no way the Rangers had a snowball's chance of winning this series. And I am so glad they proved me wrong. And that, I think that rant definitely had a lot to do with it. So now we move on to the second round. And with the way the bracket was positioned, it was going to be either the Ottawa Senators or the Boston Bruins. And I'm going to be real honest with you. And MF, you don't know this. Last night, I actually had a Facebook chat with our fellow Ranger fan, Eric Peterson. Eric Peterson posted a photo on his Facebook page, a photo of Henrik Lundqvist and Carey Price shaking hands, and then there's a caption. It was like a funny meme on the top of his head with Henrik Lundqvist saying, "Ha ha, I was better." And oh yeah, he certainly was. But nonetheless, Peterson and I, we actually did have a little bit of a chat last night in the comment section, and it was really nice. So it was nice, and it was nice chatting with our fellow Ranger fan, Eric Peterson, and we talked about the second round, and he and I both agreed that we were hoping for the Boston Bruins to advance, not just because we felt they were the easier opponent. It was because of the fact that of the history, original 6, which MF and I, we have so much appreciation for the original 6, and also a Strictly Sports Buddy Bowl. It would have been myself and Fletch and Eric Peterson against Derek Ferreira, Michael Bullock, and the Boston Bruin fan base, and that would have been hella fun. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case because this afternoon the Ottawa Senators put away the Boston Bruins in 6 games. So now it's on to the Ottawa Senators. The series schedule just moments ago released. And MF, our next Ranger Roundup, let's circle Thursday night on the calendar. Thursday night, Game 1, and the Ottawa Senators have the home ice advantage in this series because because the Rangers, of course, one of the 2 wild card teams, and of course that's automatic. And even though I think the Rangers have more points than Ottawa, unless I'm wrong about that. But Game 1 in Ottawa, Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Game 2, Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock. Game 3, Tuesday, May 2nd in Madison Square Garden. Game 4 will be on Thursday, May 4th. If necessary, Game 5, Saturday, May 6th, back in Ottawa. Game 6 in New York on Tuesday, May the 9th. And if there should be a Game 7, it will be on Thursday, May 11th. Get it? Got it? Good. Congratulations, New York Rangers. Last night, even with that slow start, it still went the way I wanted. I was hoping it would have gone, MF, and that was exactly, perfectly right. A Saturday night in Madison Square Garden, prime time, with the NHL's best announced crew out there. The stars were aligned. That's all there is to it. So praise God, New York Rangers, they did it. And now it's the Ottawa Senators, and I'm going to be real honest with you, MF. I'm a little worried.
Well, they did take 2 out of 3 from us in the regular season, but look at this. With Montreal, they took all 3 games. Come in. They took all 3 games, and New York just knocked them out. I don't know. It's kind of fishy. It's kind of weird because I was more concerned with Boston because I thought Boston was a more better team. I thought they were more polished. I thought they're more stronger than what they looked like. Yes, advertised wise, um, Boston lost to New York all 3 times, but the thing was they had Claude Julien as their coach at that time, except for 1 game, and it kind of changed the real look, the stature, the whole 9 yards, and that's why I think um, New York was in a better position with um, Ottawa. Yes, I get it because earlier in the year there was 1 game in Madison Square Garden and they smashed us. They totally beat us up. Then we got back to Ottawa. We got one back on them. The third and final game, that was practically like the final game of the season. So none of the stars played for New York. None of the stars for Ottawa played, and Ottawa won that game. And they won it. I think it was like 4-2, something like that. It was an easy victory for Ottawa. But again, I didn't really freak out about that game because that third game, none of our big starters. Lundqvist was not playing. I don't even think NT Niemi was playing. We had like one of those guys from the Hartford Wolf Pack. He had to start that day. That technically you could say it was like 1-1. Okay, fine. What is New York? What New York's got to do is this. You got to be better on the power play. Like, I think we got opportunities. We're more rougher. We're more tougher. We're more better than a lot of people are thinking. And you know what? I'm going to say this. Somebody ticked me off last night, and I can't believe it. It was from the NBC crew. It was one of the pregame guys. Who was it? Was it Eddie? No, it wasn't Eddie Olczyk. It was.
Let me guess. It was Milbury, wasn't it?
Milbury. Yeah, he pissed me off last night beyond belief, saying, "Oh, the New York Rangers picked the right bracket to play in. By playing in the Atlantic Division, you're playing with easier competition. Imagine if you would have played against if you had to play through the Metropolitan. What does that guy do in anything? Okay, they were a wild card team, but that doesn't mean squat to me when it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. I mean, I literally flipped out because I actually recorded the game. I DVR'd it, and when I heard that comment, I absolutely flipped my lid on that one. I was ticked more than anything else because I thought that was so unfair, and that's Milbury for you.
Of course.
Like he knows how to just push your buttons. It's like he's like a hater of the Rangers. I don't get it. He always bashes New York about something, and he just pissed me off last night beyond belief. So enough about that. Let's get into the Bulls corner. Like I said,
MF, I just want to share one more quick stat about now that we're officially out of the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. 2 quick stats, and then we'll do the Bulls corner. 18 overtime games in the first round. Can you believe that?
That 18. Has to be a record.
It is a record.
There you go.
And it's also the first time since 2001 that we did not have a single first round series go to a game 7. How about that?
Wow.
Bulls corner time, baby.
All right. Now we're going to the Bulls corner. And yes, like I said, the Boston Celtics knocked out the Chicago Bulls. Again, they have tied the series, coming back from 0-2 down. Now it's a 2-2 series lead. At 104-95 was the final score. And Boston won the first quarter. Again, they dictated the pace, 30-18 after the first quarter. The second quarter was basically a virtual wash. Chicago won that quarter 28-27. And at the half, it was 57-46. Boston, and you're thinking, oh, come on, Chicago, wake up! You gotta show me some guts, show me some fight. Well, Chicago did. Back, they roared back. They actually, they got it. They got it all the way back, almost halfway through the quarter. They tied the game at 65 apiece. But then Boston went on a 12. They went on a humongous run to close the quarter, and actually at the end of three, it was 79-70. At the minute that it was 65 all, and this was about 4 minutes, and I'm gonna say about between 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining to the end of the quarter. Boston literally a um they went on a 14-5 run to end the quarter, and they pulled out to a 9-point lead. Then Chicago started the quarter. They were able to inch it down to 5 again. And that's the thing. This time around, we can't blame Chicago. We can't rip them because they were trying to get back into the game. They knew they realized that they dug themselves into a hole, and the thing was they were digging out. They were trying to hang in. It's just Boston were making the key shots this time around. They were making the key plays this time around. And this time, unlike Chicago, where we thought we had no effort from Chicago, this time they were making an effort. They were fighting, trying to get back into the game. It's just Boston finally woke up and they starting to look like that number one seed that everybody penned them as. They're starting to look like that 53-win team that they were this entire NBA season, and Chicago just did not have an answer tonight. At the end of it, it is a 104-95 win for the Boston Celtics, and they have tied the NBA series. Game 5 will be back in Boston in 3 nights on the 26th. Anthony, I know you might want to go on a rant, and I don't blame you if you do, but I'm going to say it. I can't blame Chicago this time around because they actually showed heart. They actually did fight. It's just Boston just finally acted like the team that they should have been. Isaiah was looking great. There was a good amount of guys. I'll even say this, man. There was a couple of unsung heroes for Chicago. I mean, everybody was playing their part tonight. Is just Boston just had 4 guys, and the 4 of their starters were in double figures. I mean, there's really nothing you can do about that. This was a team effort victory by the Celtics. They tied the series, but I'm not going to rant against the Bulls. It's just this time around, they showed the heart. They were fighting like heck. It's just they just ran into a better team tonight.
Yeah, they certainly did, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go on that same rant that I went on last Sunday night about the New York Rangers. I mean, after Game 3 against Montreal, it seemed to light a fire under the Rangers. It worked with them, and I think the turning point was Michael Bullock. I mean, when Michael Bullock last Tuesday night, when he went on that rant about the Celtics, and I think Bullock has lit a fire under his team, and it's definitely worked. And anyways, my 3 stars of the game, my number 3 star, I got to give it to Al Horford. Al Horford, 15 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, had a steal and a block. My number 2 star of the game, we saw him. He came back this time around. He was his old self again, thank goodness. Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets, 33 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, and a steal. But to me, the star of the game, Isaiah Thomas, no question about it, because he was on the winning team. It would have been Jimmy Buckets if the Bulls had won, but since the Celtics won, I have to give the number 1 star to Isaiah Thomas. 33 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, had a steal. So there you go. Unsung hero, no doubt about it. Gerald Green. What a great game he had. 18 points and 7 rebounds. We'll give you Kelly Olynyk out of Gonzaga. 10 points and 3 rebounds. Marcus Smart, not much, but I thought he played very well. 5 points with 8 rebounds and 6 assists and a steal. And that's pretty much all I can say for the Boston Celtics. For the Bulls, I already ran down Jimmy Buckets. Nikola Mirotic, I thought he played well tonight. 13 points, 7 rebounds, had an assist. D Wade, 11 with 6 rebounds and only 2 assists. Robin Lopez hasn't been doing much lately. He only had 8 points and 7 rebounds. Isaiah Cannon, I gotta give it up for this young man. 13 points and 3 assists with 2 rebounds and 2 steals. Bobby Portis out of Arkansas had 8 points, 8 rebounds, and an assist. And that's pretty much all there is to say on that. And as far as the team numbers go, Boston Celtics, 46.9% from the field on 38 out of 81. Chicago Bulls, 42.1%, 32 out of 76. 3-point shooting, both teams were off on that. The Celtics, 10 out of 37 for 27%. Chicago Bulls, 5 out of 24, 20.8%. Free throw shooting, that went to the Celtics, 18 out of 22 for 81.8%. Chicago Bulls, 26 out of 33, 78.8%. A rebounding edge, hey. Well, actually, no, I stand corrected. I thought the Celtics had won it. No, Chicago won it, but not by much. It was only 44 to 41. The rebounding edge went to the Chicago Bulls. The assists, that went to the Celtics, 22 to 19. Turnovers, Chicago, 12 turnovers. Celtics had 13. The steals, 7 to 5 in favor of the Celtics. Block shots, that was even for a piece. 23 personal fouls by the Bulls, 24 personal fouls by the Celtics, including Marcus Smart, who had 5. Kelly Olynyk and Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder all had 4. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Isaiah Thomas had a technical foul. Marcus Smart, a technical foul. Jimmy Butler had a technical foul. And that's all there is. That's all she wrote. And, the Boston Celtics, they needed to show that fire. They needed to show that sense of urgency, especially after losing the first 2 games at home. And here comes another stat, another one of my stats of the night. The first round series to have the road team win all 4 games since the first round in 2005 with the Houston Rockets and the Dallas Mavericks. That series, both teams split on the road. All 4 games were won by the road team, and this is the first time in 12 years that we've had a series where the road team won the first 4 games. I mean, the Bulls won the first 2 games in Boston, and then the Boston Celtics made themselves at home in Chicago, winning the next 2. So anything can happen now as we go into pivotal Game 5, which will be on Wednesday night. And we now know that there will be a Game 6, and that will be on Friday night. And if there should be a Game 7, I believe it would be next Sunday night, which would coincide with MF's birthday. So that's all there is to say about that. So the Boston Celtics, they're back. They're flexing their muscle. Now it's looking like they're the number 1 seed, and the Bulls were the 8th seed. So anything can happen now going into pivotal Game 5 on Wednesday night back in Boston. So we'll see what happens. Can the Bulls steal yet another one, or will the Celtics finally flex that home muscle and we can finally get some home cooking in that series? So we'll see what happens. So not looking too good for the Chicago Bulls right now. I got to say the Celtics definitely have the advantage right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics ultimately put it away. So, but we'll see. We'll see. So anything can happen. Let's not panic and go on these rants and whatnot. Yeah, it worked for the Rangers, but I don't feel it. I think it's a trifle unnecessary for me to do that. So I'm not going to do that. So So that's it on the Wednesday night, I guess. So that's our next Bulls Corner. So MF, let's wrap up this 50-50 weekend, even though I'm still in Ranger celebration mode.
Oh, of course. I think we're all going to be still in Rangers celebration mode. But let me tell you guys, we're only going to have maybe 4 more nights of that because then we're back to work. We're going to go back into battle, and we got the Ottawa Senators. So, like we said, game one will be Thursday night. Yes, Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday.
It will be Thursday night. We'll have game one. It's gonna be in Ottawa, so get ready, guys. We're gonna be right back at it again. We're gonna have a few days off just to collect ourselves and to get ourselves ready. But until then, we got a wrestling form. We got ridiculously raw. We got cerebral smack talk. So we're definitely gonna have plenty to worry about. And then, of course, another Bulls Corner on Tuesday night. So we'll have to worry about that as well. So until then, for Anthony Flair, I'm Mike Fletcher. You know the routine, HUD hand pounds. We're out. Have a great night. So long for now.